You have a link to this thought jar in the upper right corner and something that I can no longer find, but I also created teaching summarization, but teaching summarization in the service of what we read and what we research. So again, very intentional. Don't just teach summarization for the sake of writing a paragraph. Make sure there is content that is meaningful, right? Authentic literacies. And this is just a comment from a student of mine during online teaching during the pandemic. Um, it sounds like she's mad at me, but what she's really telling me is I have presented her with a novel that made her think, that made her think beyond herself. And it's written in a very California dialect, just so you know. And this is what I want you to think about with your own curriculum. What is the impact of what you teach? The other thing about, at least in the United States, from what I understand from my own experience and colleagues, is we do not have time to scrap our whole curriculum and then do something new. We can't add on. There is no time to try new things. So, what I encourage you to do is motivate your students from within. Take what you have and do more with it. Adapt it, update it. Have you been using the same lesson for 20 years? It might be time to look at it, to modernize it, streamline it. If your students are spending a lot of time in middle school coloring pictures to go along with their summary, is that really necessary? The time you assign for them to color or draw a picture, could they be doing something else? So think about that. And how accessible is your content? And this is where artificial intelligence or AI can come in. Are you presenting articles and stories to your students at different reading levels? So, for instance, Newsella in the bottom right corner is an app that has a lot of informational text, and you can actually assign these to your students, the same article at different reading levels to increase accessibility. You can also use artificial intelligence to reword a text at different reading levels. So again, that's where you can embrace AI as a tool, as an assistant. Looking at the standards for us in the United States, we have teaching standards, we have curriculum frameworks. Basically, they're mandates. We must teach this topic this way. Can you focus on your standards and frameworks in a way where you can integrate? So, for instance, yes, I teach English, but the content I bring into my curriculum is science based, is history based, because English has to be about something. Whatever language you're teaching, the content has to blend with it. So, can you integrate to do more for less? Look for themes and issues within your content. For instance, we do a Greek mythology unit, and I don't care for the novel we use with our students. I find it silly, but I must use it. And it's about a hero. So, what occurred to me is why can't we talk about everyday heroes? Because I'm teaching sustainable development goals, human rights, because I'm teaching students to think about others and not just themselves and been making a change. How can we be everyday heroes? How can we compare ourselves as human everyday heroes versus a hero in literature? Again, taking my English content, doing more with it. So think about what you have that you can do a little bit differently. Make sure your students have um, access to whether it's your classroom library, your school library, diverse content, but also curriculum based topics and themes that also hint at human rights issues. So, for instance, the book A Long Walk to Water is very much about climate action. It's about no poverty. It's about reduced inequalities. It's about quality education. The female character in the book cannot go to school, not because she's not allowed to, but because she must gather water for her family. And I have a lot of students from India who, when they go back home, they will start withdrawing water from the well versus the faucet. So it's a really great way to share our backgrounds and different ways of living. So think about that. We are given content to teach. That's what we teach. How we teach it is dictated by our standards and frameworks, but student agency, helping these students become civically minded change agents. That is why we teach. And if that's not why you teach, I want you to think about it. But I think you're here for a reason. So, Also, I don't know about where everyone teaches, but in California, we're very outspoken and students complain a lot. Don't take that as an insult. When a student says, I hate it when blah, 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 blah. I hate it when the class before us leaves plastic water bottles all over the class. I don't ignore that. To me, they are identifying an issue. They're telling me that littering and waste is annoying to them. So I say to them, what are you going to do about it? And the students think they can't do anything. They think they're powerless. So they say, well, what can we do about it? Just like Socrates, you answer a question with a question. Well, what can you do about it? I do not want to answer every question for my students. I am a Socrates. Get it? I will keep teasing them with more questions. I want them to think about what the problem is and what they can do about it as 11 or 12-year-olds or high school students. The gentleman from Cambodia has high school students. What can they do about it? Are we doing okay, Aziz?
Yes, just one thing. I think we were not able to go live on the Facebook page. There was like a technical issue, but it's okay. We are live on YouTube.
Perfect. Okay, excellent. So again, think about your lesson planning with a human-centered focus. And I won't play this video for you, but it is a gift for you. Basically, when you plan your lessons and when you are working with your students, what inspires you? And by you, I mean your students. What inspires your students? They may say nothing. They may not have been inspired yet. And that's where the Sustainable Development Goals and human rights focus comes in. Who's your audience? If you want to make a change, who are you doing this for? And what are their needs? Not what your needs are. What are their needs? Because to make a change that you think works for you may not work for your particular audience. So you need to consider multiple perspectives. If you're going to raise money for a certain group, do they need it? Is this how they need it? Is this why they need it? So again, it's helping our students think beyond themselves, consider someone else's needs and wants and gifts and talents. And then what are your ideas to stop a problem, to start um, a community organization to help things get better or to change a particular system, a law, something like that. And then how will they be implemented? That's a lesson right there. You've got research, you've got reading, writing, listening, speaking. That is a lesson plan, but the focus is on humanity. This lesson design is inquiry based, whether you call it